If you recall, about a couple months ago, I did the video where Galvin McGinnis was on HuffPost, and he was, debating the three-man giants and the fembot, and he basically said this. He said, well, I'm gonna let you just play the clip.
Well, who says it's not the natural order? I'm talking about 40,000 years. You're talking about a generation. And I see these people, okay? I see these 40-something who've been pushed, these women who've been pushing their careers, and they're fucking sad, okay? They want to adopt. They're taking hormones. They're trying to argue about stuff. Can we get a fucking surrogate? They're making twins because they've taken so many hormones. They're spending tens of thousands of dollars because they waited too long. And I can see it's going to happen to you. I forgot your name, but I know you don't have kids.
Marianne, you're so young. As your friendly neighborhood gynecologist, you should know that by the time a lady hits 30, she loses about 90% of her eggs.
What?
No, that can't be true.
What? You know that there's a test that you can take that tells you how many beans you got left in your bean sack?
Ovaries. It estimates basically how many childbearing years you have left.
Yeah, get this baloney. I'm 32, but my eggs are 48, and my vagina is 97.
I am so uncomfortable.
But it gets better.
All right, so this lady name is Stacie Krajchir. She works for the Huffington Post, so I'm gonna just assume she's a feminist. And like most feminists, she's probably also a leftist. But she got an article that caught my attention, and she was talking about she too damn old to be having babies at 40. And we know that that's one of the things that I guess empower females is to go against that biological clock and say no. We got in vitro, we got IUDs, UIVs, UFOs, whatever, turkey basters. We got all this technology now. So forget that biological clock, and we can, female, woman, hear me roar. I can wait till I'm 40 to have a baby if I want to. And as you see it in pop culture, a lot of these celebrity chicks who have money, more often than not, most cases they're married. Even if they're not, they still have nannies and people to help them. Yet, they go out there and do all this nonsense at 40 plus. We don't see the negative side effects or what happens behind closed doors, but they champion like, ta-da. Meanwhile, the average American female, in her silliness, looks up to that and says, I want to do that too. I can have that opportunity one day and I'll do the same things. And that's where we're at right now. But people say, there's certain ages you should not think about having kids. Like, as a guy myself, I wouldn't want to be 40 years old running around with a 2-year-old. It just is not me. I wouldn't want to do that. Not having a baby from, birth at 40? No. Why? Hell no. No, that's not cool. But these females are hyped on that idea. Even though as a man we can do that without issue, I still wouldn't be trying to be about that life. But we're going to read this article and see what she has to say, which will be conflicting to the feminist narrative. But before we get into the article, let's listen to her. I guess this is like right after she had the baby at 40, and this is how she's talking to the other women and how, she's telling them what she had to go through, to get pregnant in the first place. But we're going to check her out and see what she has to say.
In television, so I was the type of person who worked 12-hour days, and I would eat literally whatever was available at my desk, be it fries at the commissary, a hamburger, Chipotle down the street like 5 times a week, a Coke every day at 11 o'clock. You just kind of eat whatever you eat on the road, which I think, in our society today is pretty normal, unfortunately. And I met my husband at 40. We met on Match.com. I tell that to everybody in case you're single parents out there wanting to become parents and have a partner. And we pretty much started baby making right away.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
I'm so sorry.
And I want to say, Mandy has a little cold, so we're thanking her extra for being here.
I'm really nervous, so now that that's my entrance, I feel much better.
So for me, I experienced 3 miscarriages, 3 DNCs, 3 natural pregnancies, 3 miscarriages, 3 DNCs, and then we found out, we went to a fertility specialist, and we learned that we may have had a fibroid. In fact, we did. We had it removed, and a month or 2 later, we successfully had a successful IUI on our first try. as soon as I started to really get educated about fertility, the number one thing that I sort of had to like admit and come to terms with was that I kind of sucked in terms of health and eating and wellness. So I really had to kind of do a 360, but I didn't do like the cold turkey where I'm like, I'm going to do yoga 92 times a week and I'm going to like only eat organic and all that stuff. I honestly just had to be honest. I said, look, you're a type of person who is who you are, and you want to gently find your way to becoming the most fertile person you can. And by the way, I was 43 when I had my child, and Milo is now 11 months old. So I wasn't like, I wasn't in my late 20s or early 30s. I was in my 40s, which makes me even, less of a optimal person to necessarily get pregnant from my particular story. But what I did was I tried my best to eat the most foods that I ate most often, which were chicken or meat, milk, dairy. We ate organic. I did yoga at home, DVD, because I didn't like being in the room with all the other people. It made me feel like I was terrible and not really bendy. And then second is I swam 3 to 4 times a week. And the one thing my husband said is also, he said, we're going to walk. We're going to go do the stairs in our neighborhood. And so I just did baby steps towards trying to get, the most out of my lifestyle and wellness and so forth, and maximizing my fertility. And I also did acupuncture. I went to Dr. Dow and Dr. Mao, who at the Dow Wellness, and I was always that type of person like, oh yeah, great, they just want my money. I don't really think that stuff works. But I thought, you know what, change your attitude. Visualize that when those needles go in, your eggs are just getting blown up to be super juicy. And I just honestly tried to optimize everything by visualizing and manifesting. And that was kind of my own personal journey to having a successful pregnancy. So with that, I want to...
UIDs, UFOs, IUDs, turkey basters, yoga, acupuncture, walking, all that to get pregnant, not post-pregnancy, not after the fact, not during pregnancy, but she had to do all that to get pregnant 40 plus. Well, damn, that's a lot of money spent right there. So let's see what the 43-year-old, actually, my bad, having baby for the first time has to say about her experiences. Here's the deal. You always want it what you can't have. Before I had my own baby, I saw someone pushing the stroller down the street. I was hurt physically and yearning for motherhood. Was a club that I so deeply wanted to belong to. I was determined by any means necessary. This led me to 3 natural pregnancies, 3 miscarriages, and 1 fibroid surgery. Following that party of fertility fun, you spent a lot of money, lady. Our doctor suggested we do a round of IUI. For the newcomers, IUI is what is commonly referred to as turkey basting. And boom, pregnant at 42, dreams do finally come true. Honestly, if I had to go through all that, I would just be like, yo, I give up, I quit. I'm saying if I was, the man in the situation, I wouldn't be in that situation. But I'm saying if I was in the man in the situation, I would kindly already expect, like, yo, we too old to be having kids, yo, let's just chill. But they spent a lot of money and went through a lot of drama to get pregnant at that age. I couldn't do it. She continues, I'm just going to come out right and say it. Say it. Anger the feminists. I'm too old for this new career. I hate to say it because the feminist inside of her really thought she could beat biology. But I realized Mother Nature might have been trying to help us. You think? She decided centuries ago that most of our eggs would have a use-by date. Really? Once they've been on the shelf around 33 years? I get it now. Before I became a mom, I saw nature as a cruel self-control freak, trying to block my stroller-pushing dreams. But now I no longer hate. I realize she was just being polite, trying to give driven, busy women like myself a clear warning sign without insensitively coming right out and saying it. No lady, this is not happening. Since I generally avoided helpful warning signs, most of my key life messages have been realized by crashing into sliding glass windows more than once. And this one has been no different. It's article after article, study after study showing, I, Rocky Mr. E did a great video. I forgot what he called it, how it's called gastro mothers or whatever. How even though doctors are telling women that they should be having their first kid in their mid to late 20s, like to start off. Like you damn sure shouldn't be having your first one past 30, but you should have had your first one at least in your 20s. And of course, women are hard-headed and they reject this because they feel like it's some type of way that the patriarchy is trying to control a woman's womb by telling them when they can have baby. Nah, that's called Mother Nature. But these women don't listen anyways. So at least we have one being honest. Let's continue. In this modern age, we have bred women clever enough to manipulate their way right past Mother Nature, straight into convincing the brains behind the medication to find new ways to let us have babies at any age today, by any means necessary. Means a plethora of fertility cocktails, options including natural contraceptive, IVF, egg sperm donation, birth surrogates, adoption, or my own personal favorite, please God just knock me up. I promise to be the best mother on earth. So here I am, deep in the gold membership of the club, motherhood, and all. I am most afraid of saying, yep, it's slightly torturous at 45 years old. I have a perfect, beautiful baby boy, not your average, incredible baby. I sit on the couch watching him breathe and exist. And well, he's just perfection. My son is this morning ray of sunshine and follows me everywhere saying mom, 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 mom 200 times a day. This 20-month-old chatterbox knows stuff I definitely didn't teach him, and it's just strange. My child is kind of ferociously bright, silly, basically a sponge for knowledge. I'm totally fine with his perfection. I mean, I waited so long for him. He's damn well better be perfect. In the bigger picture, life's blessing, I won the lottery, and I can't complain. Let's face it, having a child at 40 is a miracle in itself. Top that off with potential complications, and I managed to dodge. I should go to church every day, and my son is healthy, thriving, and a joy, and I kiss him on the ground daily. I'm blessed beyond words. But you about to negate everything you just said. I'm going to complain just a little bit anyway, in the hopes of helping women like the one I used to be over 40, still holding on to the dream of motherhood rather than becoming one of the mommy liars out there. I have chosen to be disciplined of Mother Nature, and I give my sisters the low-down dirty truth. There are a few reasons 40 just might be too damn old, I put that in there, to be having babies. Oh. Behind all that, oh my gosh, cute baby perfection, is the 45-year-old me wondering how in the hell I arrived here and why I fought so hard to have this life. I traded in my freedom warrior cards. I have nip schedule-based life of early mornings, devoid of a sex life, devoid of sex living, exhausted in the vast lonely desert of parenthood. Sitting here now, I realize that I really didn't think about what would happen once the baby arrived. They generally don't think about that. My goal was to have a baby after there had been no clear plans. Many of my fellow over 40 mom friends also feel the same way. We planned for parenting to be a huge challenge, but we didn't necessarily plan for a lot of the little things that come with this older mom thing. We're mothers of advancing maternity age. Yes, that is a real phrase used to describe old moms. We are a unique breed of women who have just willed ourselves into motherhood, and we now fought so hard to take up this giant leap in our careers that we put the same determination into pursuing motherhood And I think a percentage of women sort of regret it. We're such a goal-oriented society. We strive for something we want and we get it. And once we have it, we wonder, oh, what now? We don't really pre-produce the what now until it's too late. I'll be honest, I didn't take much time to think beyond the baby about the complex my life would become. It gets flipped upside down every day. No one really tells you about having less energy, the inability, or about the social discrimination, the grandma effect. They sell you a cute baby, a cute baby, a cute baby. You can so do this, but in reality, motherhood is, while blissful, downright scary and beyond overwhelming, especially after 40 years of age. I wonder what the hell was I doing, questioning whether all mothers who came before me felt the same way, whether my molasses is a result of my modern ways of mothering. We think of the modern mothering as a collective of women as a very much like me who want it all: career, love, friends, family, splash of free time to nurture our previous selves. Or of course, we insist on making it all look easy and remaining MILF-like while doing it, while remaining MILF-like while doing it. That's not the modern mothering. That's unrealistic mothering, which is designed for failure. That is weird too, because I remember having a conversation with a female on Facebook who, didn't have any kids. She was married for 6 years, didn't work out, and she conveniently had a baby out of wedlock right before her 30th birthday. And she was saying something in the comments, and she said, and I was making fun of the fact that, all the other kids are gonna be like, why is your mom so old? And this chick responded was, I'm okay with being that MILF. Like, really, who says that? And what son would want his mother being a MILF to his classmates? I just didn't get that. But going forward, as a mom over 40, I have lots of regrets. I regret not doing this sooner, obviously. I regret not fully knowing how my body works, common sense, the complexity issues that could arise in the result of waiting. I regret not knowing about the options like freezing my eggs, or even considering more seriously, even if it was for the one day, the idea of choosing to be childless. I regret most of all not traveling with my husband before we arrived to the lockdown center of the very scheduled and routine life. That is the cost of putting love over motherhood. I wanted for him, and he showed up, and I turned 40. I regret not saving more money, because you spent a whole lot of money. And most of all, I regret not thinking about the fact that I will be in my 60s when my son goes to college. Well, damn. When we are gone, my husband and I are deeply thinking about his being alone in the world without a sibling, and that we may not even ever see him marry the love of his life. It weighs heavy every single day. I know I can't speak for anyone else, but I regret waiting. This woman who works for the Huffington Post, who had a baby at 43, got pregnant at 42, now she's 45, kids like 2 now, and she's regretting that decision to do that. Take notes. Everyone deserves to have a choice to be a mother. I just wonder if we're really thinking about how being a mother changes everything. My entire identity as I knew it is essentially off the table. You might think to pick up and choose aspects of your life that won't change no matter what, but it all changes despite your tendencies. I question if it is possible to get in an age where you become set in your life and your ways, that really having a baby is not the smartest choice or the best choice, or even for you. These are the ideas most moms in waiting don't really want to talk about. I think it's important to be smart. I think it's important to start the conversation and give women the permission, who took the permission away from you, never mind, to share their truth without being judged. The only person who's going to judge you is another woman, because men don't really care. Unless they want children, they're going to date women who can give them that. And if you can't offer them that, they're not going to date you. I'm fortunate to have a tribe of women who can speak openly about this, and I love and adore my son beyond words, and I am supportive community where I can honor the loss of my previous self. Okay, I see that word. Today I often find myself once feminist, self-encouraging my younger sisterhood to explore motherhood sooner than later. What? Today I often find my once feminist self. So that means you're not, or you're talking about yourself in the past. I'm going to read that again. Today I often find my once feminist self encouraging my young sisterhood to explore motherhood sooner than later. Educate yourself. Learn what becoming a pregnant looks like. Know that your body works and understands that ovulation is as soon as you are able. Go to the doctor and get a clear picture of any fertility issues you may have and be up against. Fibroids most likely caused my 3 miscarriages. Knowing sooner, I would have had saved us a lot of time and heartache. I could have been a 30-something mom instead of a mom over 40. That makes more sense, but you didn't. The upside of being an older mom is that I'm too wise and too tired to lie about motherhood. I'm downright honest with anyone who asks about how much it takes day in and day out to nurture a human being. I usually say something like, think of your worst hangover, multiply it by 4, subtract showering, napping, and brushing up with friends, and add a baby. Welcome to the club. Well, damn. I also don't lie about how deep this particular motherhood can be. From the moment you hold your first child the first time, you can never go back. You are officially in the deepest love of your life. Your heart expands and gets bigger than you ever thought it would possibly be. And all the things you once thought were fantastic, sleep, career, friends, and sex, all it seems completely empty compared to the beautiful human being who now takes up your entire world. You can have it all, just not all at once. Oh, and then there's menopause while parenting young children. Yes, that's a real thing too. The funny thing about the story is this is something most of us already knew. This is something that men tell women all the time. We say your youth and your beauty. That's the best time to do those things. Put in your career and eat, love, pray, and travel the world, getting ran through, all that stuff. No, don't do that. If you want to have a child, if you want to be a wife, you do that at a younger age. Of course things happen in life, but that's still your best bet. But I remember one of my teachers telling me back in the day, he was like, he knew an affluent white woman, she was in her 50s. She had a good career, had more degrees than a thermometer. And this is over 10 years ago when he told me this. And he said that she went out there, because she gave up on dating a relationship. She's 50. She's too old. It's not going to happen. And she went to go to like Indonesia, one of the foreign countries. She spent like $50,000 over like a 5-year waiting period to adopt a kid. She gets that kid. She's single, obviously. She doesn't have any family up in New York State. And because she spent so much of her money investing in the adoption, she went through a lot of her savings, and she was having a hard time financially. So, I mean, I don't understand how it's taking some women now to get it. Like, that was 10 years ago, and I understood, like, boom. Every chick in his classroom should understand that's not something we should do. Like, he pretty much laid it out there. This was 10 years ago he said this. And a lot of women are going to go through this and be hard-headed and not listen anyway. Standard. But it's just like, to me, it's real simple. I'm going to read some of these comments. It's a lot of women going in, talking about they agree and they feel the same way. This one lady says, I'm glad you mentioned the impact of childbirth. Too often articles are dealing with the subject, overlooked being the child of an older parent impacts the child. My mom was 40 and my dad was 42 when I was born. By the time I was 25, my mother was in the beginning stage of dementia. mentally dead for us for 10 years. I have a very faint memories of my grandparents as they died when I was very young. My love, I love my aunts and uncles that passed away one by one during my teen years. By the time I was 35, both my parents were gone. I felt like an orphan, although I was technically not one. I miss my family, especially at this times of the year. There were benefits to be sure. My parents were in a better financial place when I was born, and my mother had more time to enjoy me. She did. Times have changed. Our society is living longer and staying healthier, longer than my parents' generation. So maybe I'm at 40 is such a big deal. Female logic. She goes to an entire sob story about the effects it had on her, yet she still sees the light at the end of the tunnel. Silly women. But I do urge women during this time to choose to think beyond into the future of the child. Another lady is responding saying, although the challenges you mentioned are very familiar ground, I had 2 children conceived naturally at the age of 40. I am now in my early 50s raising school-age kids. I am now an advocate for women to journey of motherhood after 40s. Oh, think you're absolutely right. Discuss the challenges ahead, older moms. We have a support site for moms and women over 40 trying to conceive, and think your readers might find it challenging and benefits of motherhood after 40. Resources page useful. I don't get these chicks. Another female says, you are on the right in so many ways. I have a lot of the same regrets as you do. I too might be gone decades before my younger friends who are moms. But if I had a kid any earlier, I wouldn't appreciate them nearly as much as I do now, nor would I be as patient as a parent as I am. I'd rather my kids have less time with me overall. It's meaning for me. The time is quality. Me missing out on this is a scenario I know. I've been there, done that, and I'm ready for parenting. I don't get that. So you acknowledge that because you're older, you have more free time to spend with the kids. I don't know how that's possible, but you're sacrificing. Okay, you get to spend a lot of time from the time they're little kids to like 12. High school, they're not going to want to be around you. In college, they're gone. So you're sacrificing that end of the life. Like, you get your good window when you could be there more involved if you were younger. But that period, it doesn't last long. Again, once they're in college, they're gone. And you're almost gone too. I don't get that. This woman says, profound. I had 3 children by the time I was 21, and 2 more in my 30s, and I am better mother, older. What I did from my experiences, I enjoyed and appreciate those who are right. No one can guarantee that this will see their children marry or graduate. That's common sense. But if you wait till you're 50, your chances are slimmer. Calm down. We all have the right and the blessing of being with children, mixed blessings, but I've seen women rushing this snarky kind of motherhood sucks persona, and it makes me sad. If you think your child doesn't feel that she's correct about this, intuitively, you're a fool. You're fooling yourself. And it's honestly a place. But I think she's right, though, because these women are admitting, the woman who wrote this article and the one who do feel this way, they're admitting that, they feel some type of way from waiting so long to have kids. I'm pretty sure your kids can pick that up. Like, damn, you should have had me like 20 years ago. It ain't my fault. I ain't asked to be here. But on the real, I think if she's writing this article, as much as she might treat her kids the right way and all that, I'm sure the kids can tell when you resent them being there. Whoever that is, she's correct. I agree with that. Another comment, last one from this page is love this, Stacie. I remember the exhaustion. But the last 2 years have gotten so much easier and more balanced with us for the kids. Now, being 6 and 8, time we make is less incentive, and I promise. Okay, so these women are acting like it's all peachy. Off the top of the head, one of the obvious, silliest reasons, like when it comes to the propaganda of the work life, I mean, the the gap between men and women's pay. One of the reasons why women, we understand, make less is because of childhood imbalance. Now, a narrative, if you're an employer, you're being hounded to hire women, is like, all right, I'm gonna hire women over 40 because they're done past that. The women who were having babies at 40, they mess all that up. Like, that would be the reason why, because your kids are older and they're out the house at that time, then you can go back and focus on your career. But these females are trying to promote this narrative of, no, wait till you're 40. But that's kind of hustling backwards right there. Read some of the Facebook comments. Not so many silly ones like the previous from the actual article, but this woman says, I do agree we have to be realistic about our biological clocks. I suffer from multiple miscarriages that I truly believe may not have happened if I started at a younger age, obviously. I am not saying that we should jump into pregnancy early before you're ready, but we also need to be realistic about discussing the changes after 35 is important. I think about the fact that I might not be there for my grandchildren. I can only hope that I live as a long old age. I can be there for my son when he is an adult. Another comment says, sorry, but totally disagree. Oh, this article. I am a new mom, 42, and I will never regret walking this road. Sometimes things never happen. Sure, it would have been great to have children younger, but I didn't. Sure, I would encourage women to start younger, but I regret what I have now. No way. So she thinks women should have them younger. She thinks she should have had them younger. She would encourage women to have them younger, but she doesn't regret not having them younger. I mean, she doesn't regret, not having them younger. I'm lost. I have 2 children, and I'm almost 44. What would have had another if I could? No need in worrying about the things that you cannot control. I wish I had mine when I was in my late 20s. Fibroid killed that for me. Timing was the key. I didn't realize at the time. The right doctors, surgeries, etc. made a difference. At 34 and 36, I had my children, and I enjoy and treasure what you have. No passing judgment here, but I am thankful for the ups and downs of motherhood. I hope and pray that every day to be here for them, and they mature and go on to live their lives down the road. Last one, great post. I had my first child at 42, second child at 44, started menopause at 45, was done with that by 50. I was able to conceive without problems, but what was the last easy part, what I found was I love my kids now 6 and 18, and I have been exhausted since they were born. Literally, I was not included in sisterhood of young moms. I was just too old. It was depressing to have someone say to me, your grandchildren are beautiful. I worry about not being here for them. Those makers, life events, weddings, grandchildren's, and simply being there. I would do it all over again probably. I love my kids completely. I would have given my life for them. I would also, if anyone ever asked me to admit, I'd wish I had become a mom earlier than I did. Yeah. The funny thing too, right now is there's supposed to be some studies saying that, well, men shouldn't be having kids at 70, 80, which some of them are still doing. You know, there was an article I read. I didn't read it, but I wrote the headline. Michael Jordan's 50, and he just had twins. His wife's like 30 something. And it's like, it's funny how they're trying to switch the narrative and say men shouldn't be doing this because there's XYZ can happen. Nah. Keep looking at yourself and look at what you're doing. You shouldn't be doing it either. Trying to flip the script.
Stacie, wait, do you want to talk? Jess, you don't get it. Sadie basically just told me that if I want to have a kid, I've got to start right now. Right now. I thought I had all of this time. I didn't want to have to think about this. I know. I'm sorry. I made you take the test. What can I do? Make me a guy so we don't have to worry about this?